So when we first started on this journey, dude, like when you initially got sick, you know, what was your first thing that you wanted to do? Did you want to like run to these doctors with all these
Yeah.
answers? Did it kind of come to a point where you realized, oh my gosh, I have a chronic, and this doesn't just for Lyme, this is for all chronic illnesses. You get to
Yeah.
the doctor and you realize they don't really have the answers, and then it just sends you down a bunch of rabbit
Yeah.
holes. So
Yeah.
kind of
I
give
think
the experience, dude.
Yeah, I think everyone actually has the same experience. You want an answer. You want an answer as to like why you're feeling like crap,
Right.
and that's the ultimate goal. I need an answer. I need an answer. I need an answer. And I think that something that I've learned over the years is that trying to find an answer for all of everything is part of the trap, that it's not helpful. Sure, it's good to know like that you're not dying and all that sort of stuff, that there's not any terminal thing there, but you know when I first got sick, it was let me find an answer and see all the doctors and rule out everything, and then when I ruled out everything, it was like now that I'm like chronically ill, like what can I do to heal? How can I figure out this all and unlock it all? And I think this is a good place to start, because this is what we want to talk about on this video, is some of the common like myths and misconceptions, and the sort of different rabbit holes we all go down as we're trying to heal from chronic illness, chronic Lyme disease, and other chronic illnesses. And I think we all have that commonality, right? Similar to you, where you just kind of went down, you know, all of the different paths, seeing all the doctors and looking for answers.
Yeah, dude, for me, like when, and I think, we want answers right away because we
Yeah.
want to feel better. And, I think that it's a mistake. Obviously, get checked out, make sure,
Sure.
you don't have something life threatening or immediately life threatening.
Yeah.
And, I did that. But every single time that I got sick, I went to the hospital or doctor and just, they'd give me, you know,
Yeah.
antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication and just basically throw their hands up in the air. And here's the thing, regardless if your chronic illness is Lyme disease, fibromyalgia, long COVID, the list goes on and on, mold,
Yeah.
there's no doctor that's going to give you a pill or a treatment plan that's going to get you better. And I think that's going to make a lot of people upset.
Yeah.
And just to let you guys know, here's your disclaimer. This isn't medical advice, just two dudes. Like I went through it for 17 years. Joe's almost
It's only
20.
been almost been 20 years, and
Yeah, so
up
so
and
we're
down.
talking about
Yeah.
40 years of experience,
Yeah.
and then you pile on the amount of years of the patients and the people that come into our boot camp, and that are getting better, and you hear their stories and their same exact thing. So you then begin to realize, hey, look, I'm going to a Lyme literate physician, and I'm not saying I know that some people have gotten better,
Yeah.
but I also know that the number is very, very, very small. Like I
Yeah.
don't believe personally long-term antibiotics are the answer for Lyme disease. I've never seen them be successful. I think they're great,
Yeah.
and if you catch it early in the first 2 weeks or the first month, and you should always try them as a first line defense, but never past a month. And then
Yeah.
if there's an acute issue that needs to be handled, but past that, you're just doing more damage to your body. So
Yeah.
then what happens is, and we're trying to save you guys time that are early on in this journey, or maybe you're in it right now. So I went through all these doctors. I went to John Hopkins. I went to the Mayo Clinic. I went to all these hospitals. I had stays.
Mhm.
I had the EEGs, the MRIs, the echocardiograms, the EKGs, the blood work, the vials and vials and vials
Yeah.
of blood, and they tell you that nothing's really wrong with you, and you're like, you just want to be validated. So when you find a doctor that says, "Oh, you got Lyme disease," "Oh, you're my savior," not really.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. This is where it all kind of starts
yeah,
to
and this
fall
is
apart.
this is where you can easily
Yeah.
drop hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I went to a Lyme doctor and I would treat with him for a year, and he's just like, just hang in there. Here's some
Yeah.
meds to kind of like,
Yeah.
help you detach while you're going through your herxing, which I think is absolutely garbage. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it was like I went from one Lyme doctor to the next Lyme doctor to the
Yeah.
next Lyme doctor, and I'm like, why is nobody getting better? Why am I sitting in these waiting rooms and I'm not talking to people?
Everyone's sick. Yeah.
Everyone's still sick. And then you get the one or two that come out and they're like, yeah, and they champion these doctors, but the large majority weren't. So I was like, man, let me go holistic. Let me go see a naturopath. And I'm not saying that the naturopath can't help or that a
Yeah.
doctor can't help, but to go there thinking that you're going to get cured and that you're going to get better,
Yeah.
your mindset's the wrong point. I'm kind of curious, Joe, like how much you spent and what rabbit holes you went down that you think other
Yeah.
people could avoid
Yeah.
that you don't
Yeah.
feel like were beneficial for you.
Yeah.
And we'll at the end we'll close with what has helped us and what
Yeah.
we've helped other patients.
Exactly. So definitely stick around. But there's that sort of that saying where I think like 70% of people who go bankrupt due to from medical bills
Yep.
and debt and all that sort of stuff. And that was basically I was one of those people. I maxed out every single credit card I had. I spent all expendable money I had. I honestly I don't know exactly how much, but it was over $100,000 all said and done. Probably more than that.
Right.
Seeing all sorts of different doctors, doing all sorts of different treatments. I know my mom was picked up a lot of the she went into debt trying to help me as well.
Right.
And like I was this doctor for 6 months a year, and then it was like I need something more aggressive, or I need something more different, or I need to get my amalgams removed, or I need to you know do some sort of detox protocol, or whatever it was. It was how it is when you're on forums and you're desperate, you're looking, and everyone's got the answer. Everyone's told, my doctor's the best, or this situation is the best, or you got to fly over to Mexico or Germany or whatever to treat. And that's what I went through a lot for about. I eventually got out of that. Some people stay in it for a long time. I got out of it after about 3 or 4 years. I really was like, this is insanity. I'm spending so much time trying to heal and seeing all of these doctors that are not really helping, and I find myself getting sicker than ever. And so when that happens, I'm left questioning what I'm doing wrong. Maybe I missed something. Did you ever have that, Josh, where you're like, I feel like there's something I'm missing. There's something I'm missing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I tried, all these things. You would sit and you'd feel so sick, and these doctors would tell you that you feel that you're okay. You would get it's in your head, or oh, Lyme disease can't do this. I must have cancer, or I might have,
Yeah.
I might have caught AIDS in the jungles of
Hmm.
the Mojave Desert, or the jungles of Mojave Desert. That makes, but
Yeah.
yeah. No, but I mean, you really start getting these outlandish things like, maybe they missed something, or maybe, and this is kind of the place where living in the information age can be detrimental to your
Yeah.
health, is because we have access to so much information, but just all information isn't good information. And I think because I had that access and talking to people on these toxic forums and all
Yeah.
these things, I believed that, oh, did you miss this? Or like you said, I actually, and I'm not bankrupt now, but in 2009, I had to file for bankruptcy because I
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
$136,000 in medical debt after insurance covered it, which is,
Yeah, exactly. I had insurance too when I went into all that debt as well.
it's
So
insane. So, screw the American healthcare system. It's a mess.
we're gonna get this video shadow
Right,
banned.
right. But as I went through it, I did the IV ozone, I did the hyperbaric oxygen
Yeah.
dives, I did the bee venom therapy. And there's going to be people out there, well, you didn't do it long enough. I did it for almost a year and a half, 2 years, and just had terrible herxes and never saw
Yeah.
any kind of
Yeah.
thing. And also, did a bunch of herbs, did a bunch of antibiotics,
Mhm.
was like this close to going down to Mexico to do that hypothermia treatment
Yeah.
where they
Yeah. Yeah.
heat your body up to cook all it. I mean, it's
Mm.
insane. They don't do it here in the United States for a reason. I know there's people that have success stories with it and stuff. But what I found, dude, is as I really began to get away from the information that's bad for you and really
Yeah.
talk to people that have healed, like I would go into the communities of the chronic illness community and Lyme community and say, hey, I'm looking for people that have gotten better.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like if I would have known what I know now, oh my gosh, I'd have
Yeah.
almost
It
20.
saves so much time and money. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously we know that diet is super, super, super important. And
Yeah.
I think that people think they're eating healthy when they're really not eating healthy.
Yeah.
So, anti-inflammatory diet was super important. I eat everything organic. Again, I don't trust the US
Yeah.
government because of the stuff and regulatory measures that are put on food are just not strong enough compared to
Mhm.
overseas. So there's that. And then there's the movement part. When we all get sick, we stop moving. And we're like, oh, I have POTS. I can't do this or I can't do that.
Yeah.
You're right, because you stop moving and you've told yourself what you can't do. And it's slow. It's a brick by brick approach. But the biggest part of it was my mindset.
Yeah.
And I posted a video in our chat this morning. I think you've seen it before. It's Charlie Chaplin,
Yeah.
and he's talking to this lady that's sick and in bed. And she constantly talks about how she's sick and she's in bed and how she's always suffering and how bad. I don't know about you, bro, but that's how I was with my Limeys. And
Yeah. Same.
had
Yeah.
our little groups. We commiserate our illness and we talk about how sick we were and just how things are never going to get better and we need to fight for a better treatment. There's no better treatment that's coming out.
Yeah.
Let's be
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
All these big Lyme organizations that are out there that are, well, I'm really going to get us blacklisted for that are fighting for a cure and doing that. In our reality, we don't know where this money's going, but there's no chronic illnesses that are really seeing cures come out for them. AIDS
Yeah.
was a completely different story because AIDS patients were dropping like flies, and they were really willing to be militant and step on the U.S. Department of Justice doorstep and literally die on their doorstep while they're protesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for the majority of us guys, for you guys that are sitting there holding out, waiting for a cure, do not hold your breath. But
Yeah.
here's the good part:
Yeah. We're
you
gonna
can
dive into.
absolutely begin to
Yeah.
heal as we begin talking to these people. Like I said, diet, movement, consistency, and then right here, your body's capable of healing. If you cut yourself, it heals. If you break a bone, it heals. If you get
Yeah.
a virus, it heals. If you're in the right state.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to share a little bit about that part of your journey,
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah. I
Tried
think.
you tried all these things, but did stuff actually work for you, man? What helped you
Well,
learn better?
so here's the deal, guys. We're never gonna say don't take anything. I mean, I take supplements now,
Right,
and
right,
there
right,
have been times on my journey, even as I've healed over the last 2 years, where I've taken some herbs, some antimicrobial herbs from time to time that have been beneficial. And when I've healed in the past, there have been times when I've taken different antimicrobial things to support my body in its healing efforts. But there's a shift, guys, and this is where I want to encourage you to see where you're at. If you're listening to this, are you looking at whatever you're taking as this is what is going to heal me or cure me, or are you looking at your body as my body is capable of healing and all of that? Because I think that's just the distinction. I think for many years I was like, I need to find something to heal me and cure me, and then when I made that shift, I was like, my body is healing. My body
Yep.
has the ability to heal. It wasn't that I then completely stopped taking stuff. It was that the energy that I had shifted. It was like, okay, I'm going to take this. And if I feel it's supporting my body and my aid in healing, then cool. If it's not, I don't need to take it because my body, when I do the right things, has the ability to heal itself. And this is where the mindset piece is so
Right.
key. This is what we talk about and teach all the time is your mindset, where you're at. Are you in fear? Are you in fear and worry about your illness, or are you in belief and faith
Well,
that your
let me
body
ask
is?
you, Joe,
Yeah.
because I think that there's a lot of people out here that just don't have the knowledge. When people are living in that constant state of fear, what does it do to their body?
Yeah, it's nothing but inflammation in your body through dumping cortisol and adrenaline and all these inflammatory hormones. Like, this is what, it's not just me spouting off things that I don't, that are just random. This is scientific literature. If you're in fear and you're sitting there focusing on all of the what ifs, what could go wrong, what is going wrong, how does my body feel, oh my god, my symptoms are overwhelming, just sitting
Right.
there, thinking negatively about yourself, your illness, all that stuff. It's dumping cortisol in your body. It's down regulating like the body's ability to repair itself. It's shutting off detox pathways. It's shutting off the anti-inflammatory compounds and shutting off your
Digestion.
digestion. Yeah, and this is where you kind of get caught in that trap, that loop of like, it's the illness, it's the illness is there, but now it's the anxiety, the fear, the worry, the stress, and it's just like this perpetual loop where you're now prolonging and
Yeah.
worsening the illness with the fear and the stress.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah,
Um, Curious what your thoughts, and I'm
yeah,
speaking. I know the answer,
yeah,
and I know
yeah, yeah,
as well. but just for the people that might be watching.
Yeah.
Do you think that it can be hard for people going through this to be able to differentiate
Yeah.
what is their chronic illness and what is that heightened state of fear with all those alarms going off on their body? Because
It's
symptomatically, they're pretty
yeah,
much the same, right?
yeah, it's pretty much the same. I mean, honestly, if you look at it from
You
like,
feel like you're dying all
yeah,
the time.
yeah, yeah, anyone, if you take anyone, if you take the healthiest person right now and you subject them to levels of stress for a day or 2 days or 3 days or a week, they're going to feel like crap. If your body is pumping out cortisol and adrenaline and all this stuff, they are going to feel like crap, like death for, however many days, and if it becomes, when the body's trying to repair from all that damage, it's going to be hard, for them, just a healthy person. And when you're dealing with a chronic illness, like, it's hard to discern, like, what is this chronic illness, or am I causing the chronic illness to be worse through stress,
And
through fear. Yeah,
I want to grab you because I think
yeah,
that there's a lot of people that might have not heard of this, or they're
yeah.
just like, these dudes are idiots. They don't know what they're
Mhm.
talking about. But this was my wake up moment. This
Yeah,
was my moment that really got me out of
yeah,
bed. And for any of you guys that want to know my Lyme story, it's very well published. When
yeah.
I
We've
was
got several podcasts, and then
yeah,
also,
that's our story. And even if you go to any of the support groups and search my name, you can
yeah,
see 10 years back, I thought that I was dying.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and I'm not 100% better, but I'm healing, as
yeah,
is Joe. And Joe's
yeah,
recovered before I wrote a book on it.
yeah,
But here's kind of the thing is we go to all these doctors and we search for answers and we get let down and we take all these medications. Meanwhile, these alarms are going off in our body. I'm so sick. This is bad.
yeah,
And even if it's happening subconsciously, we don't realize it. But when you take, just a week of dumping cortisol and adrenaline to your body, you're going to feel like garbage. Can you imagine weeks, months,
yeah.
years, what it's doing to your body? So then becomes the problem. All right. Do you believe that if someone regulates their nervous system, they shut down those alarms, they're able to get into a state of rest and digest? Do you think that they feel substantially better? And it's not a quick fix,
It's not
but
a
I'm,
quick fix.
I'm just curious from you.
Yeah.
Has that changed your life?
That is the way I've gotten better. That is like the ultimate way I've gotten better. And it's more nuanced than that. It's not like just simply you
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's,
yeah,
as you know, it's like it's a process. It's a up and down process of healing, and there are little variables to it. It's an entire lifestyle shift to
and
calm and
it's like
regulate the nervous system. Yeah,
this.
and we can't ever bypass stress completely. Like that's one thing is like, I think if everyone could, live in a bubble and just this healthy, like this where they're shielded from any external factors, probably heal faster. You know what I mean? Like, but stress happens. ma- You know, relationship stress, financial stress, other viruses, illnesses, deaths in the family, whatever. Like these things happen even when you're trying to heal. So it's always going to be up and down. But learning to handle the stress in a better way versus allowing it to completely cripple you is like one of the ultimate ways that we have to learn how to heal. And that comes from like little micro stress, like little daily stress of like, whether it's the illness or whatever, you got in a fight with your spouse or your kids are freaking out, or you're late to work or something, like learning how to handle that. But then also the big stress, and then implementing strategies to calm and regulate the nervous system through things like meditation, visualization, affirmations, prayer. You know what I mean? Even for a lot of people, movement practices that help
Dude, yeah,
dispel cortisol and adrenaline out of the body versus just sitting with that all the time.
yeah.
Um,
It's
breathing practices,
it
slow
sounds
breathing practices.
so, like,
Huh?
but it sounds so easy, but
It
this is
sounds so easy, but yeah.
it's really not. And this is what we really want to tell you guys. If you look out there, there's like 10, 20, maybe even 30 neuroplasticity programs, nervous
Yeah.
system regulation, and there's a reason, because it does work. And is one program better than the other? I mean, we're not going to get into that. We have our
Ours
own.
is, well, it's not really a program, but well, here's the deal, guys. And this is, I think, one of the myths around healing is, you know, you it takes more than just neuroplasticity heal. There's a lot of these programs out there, but they miss a lot of things. And it's not that it needs to be more complex and they're missing things. They make brain retraining and neuroplasticity so complicated and only focus on that when there's other factors in how your body heals. There is the nutrition aspect. There is learning some, how to practice radical acceptance and patience on your like these things and so
Is
much
the
more.
movement component. Like people, I think a
Yeah.
lot of things, and obviously, it meets you where you're at. So obviously, if you start and walking, I mean, you've got to get your body moving again. A body
Yeah.
in motion stays in motion. I think that that's super important.
Yeah.
You're not gonna heal eating Twix. And we had a
Yeah.
lady that was, she had told me the only thing that she could eat was Snickers ice cream, and that she was reacting to everything else. And understanding that those are incorrect pathways in our brain that lead us
Yeah.
to this thinking. And when we get so sick, we live in a state of fear constantly, like of all these things. And next thing you know, like I believe in mast cell, I absolutely do, but I also believe in fear's ability to create a response inside the body. Not
Yeah.
saying it's all psychosomatic and in our head. Joe and I have seen that firsthand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got some stories about that, but as we've seen people get their lives back, we found one thing that was super important, and it's community. And
Mm.
going through this journey alone, like say maybe you get a program mailed out to you, you get an email and you hit a link, and next thing you know, you're watching videos that you can't interact with. Joe and I,
Yeah.
we run a smaller program. We cap it at 30 people, just so that we can maintain this small family type environment, and everybody in the class knows everybody. Everybody gets an accountability partner. And as much as it's helped other people heal, it's helped Joe and I heal, because we become close with a large majority of the people that come in
Mhm.
here that choose to engage. And if you look scientifically at the role that community has in health and longevity and healing, it's
Mhm.
so important. Like you look at some of the colonies of people, or the tribes of people that live the longest. Community is one of the
Yeah.
big long-standing things inside there, along with diet, along with they still use their
Mm.
hands. I mean, it's not modern societies where we're sitting in
Yeah.
front. No, it's people that still use their hands, that they're eating from the earth, that they still have great relationships with people, and they're
Yep.
not worried about what John is saying on Facebook or
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
posted on Instagram. Like that's completely cut out. And then you pair that community with diet, and then with inspired nervous system regulation. The reason I say inspired is because if you're trying to do it alone, and here's your thing, and now we need you to do some somatic practices and somatic tracking and top down, bottom, and it just becomes so overcomplicated that a lot
Yeah.
of people just give up on it. And the biggest missing component of that, I think, is consistency. Like you can't
Yeah.
come in and expect to calm your nervous system down when it's been haywire after just a week of work. Like it
Yeah.
realistically, I think, like if we had to put days on it, and I hate doing it, it's probably 3 months for people that have been suffering too.
Yeah.
Maybe, and that's just to
Uh,
start laying the
Just to
foundation,
start even experiencing like, s-
glimmers of,
glimmers and improvements that are noticeable where you're like, oh, I actually feel better, and like some of my symptoms are, it takes. I think that this is important. On this video we're kind of talking about some sort of lies and myths about all aspects of healing. Earlier we talked about you know antibiotics and all these things to treat Lyme, and how that's kind of a myth. This is another one. Like they're in the realm of neuroplasticity and all that. We have these people out there lying to you, telling you that you can heal, one, doing just brain retraining only, and two, that it took them 3 months or 6 months and then they healed. It's like in this world, I have really not seen that. Maybe those people were not very sick. Maybe they just dealt with like minor anxiety or some things like that. But truthfully, when you're dealing with a complex chronic illness like long COVID, chronic Lyme disease, fibromyalgia, all these things that actually are physiological illnesses, physical illnesses, and there are components of viruses, bacteria, parasites, whatever. The body
yeah.
takes time to get back into balance. And so that is one of the lies that I see, and I know that we've seen is like a couple things. You can heal in like 3 to 6 months. Like no, no. If you've been dealing with a serious chronic illness for many years, it is going to take some time to heal, and you need to have some patience with yourself.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you had mentioned too, we talked about this a little bit, but there's another lie out there in the chronic illness world, and that is um, to practice radical rest. And we talked about, yeah,
Uh,
we see that too.
will actually make you sick.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
your body will begin to shut down.
yeah,
Obviously, if you have a flu and you're fighting a fever of 102 or whatever, rest is needed. Like you don't get up and do it. But I
yeah,
mean, there are some conditions that, yeah, I get it. But for chronic Lyme, that by laying in bed all day, you're literally your body's giving up
yeah,
because you're losing muscle. Muscles are starting to atrophy.
yeah,
Like blood flow is not getting to where it needs
mhm,
to. Nutrients aren't getting to where it needs to. Oxygen's not getting to where it needs to. Your body needs to move even when it feels
yeah,
uncomfortable. As long as you've been cleared by a doctor to even do something as simple as walking. And believe me, like we've got stories too for days. I mean, we told our class I could barely walk around the block.
yeah,
Joe walked by my side for a while and had to dump water on my head. I was in a wheelchair. Like I get it. Like I
yeah.
100% understand it. And if you guys want to know our stories, I think if you go back a couple of videos, like we tell our
Yeah,
stories in depth of
that-
how severe it was and just how you can get better. But yeah, the idea that, some doctors will just tell you, here's a bunch of pills, here's a pick line, go radically rest in your room and wait for these antibiotics to work. So if you've
yeah,
got
it's
Lyme
so
disease
dangerous.
and that's what you're doing,
Yeah,
I used to get so upset, and I was the one. And I'm not saying all Lyme doctors are bad. I have
yeah,
some that are
some
very
are
close to
good.
my heart, but the good ones will tell you that you play a large role in your suffering too.
Hmm.
The treatments will not work until your nervous system's regulated. So I think in wrapping this up,
Yeah,
we can tell you before you go and you search out the perfect doctor, before you do that, regulate your nervous system, find out where you're at, like see if you're holding, weight here, like look at your symptomatic, like look at the symptoms of a dysregulated nervous system,
yeah,
um, and compare them to your symptoms that you're having now, or even if you were to Google, does this? And I guarantee you that most of your
yeah,
symptoms will probably be related to your nervous system being dysregulated. And I think that plays a large role in chronic illness itself and how we
yeah.
actually get sick.
It's
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I
exactly.
mean, between the diet, the lack of movement, the stress in modern society, like we weren't made to thrive in an environment where it's information in the car, beep beep beep. What do you say? We're not made to be able to where it's we don't have periods of rest. We don't have periods where our nervous system can completely calm down and begin to heal. I use this very often. Have bullets sitting on my desk. Um, if I were to get shot, like let's say right here in the tissue, and I'm in that state of going through stuff, and this is where radical rest. Obviously, there's extra rest that's needed during that time,
Yeah,
but not to where you just become completely stagnant. But if I am in that heightened state where I am just completely dysregulated and all the alarm systems are going on, that
hmm,
wound will take forever to heal. Like it
yeah,
will, it will just take its pretty time, and it won't. But if I am sitting there, I'm calm, my nervous system's there, I'm not stressed out or whatnot, that wound will heal exponentially quicker, as will
hmm,
a broken bone. And here's the crazy thing: when you used to go to doctors before or cardiologists, they would ask you, what's your diet look like? What's your
sure.
exercise look like? How are you managing stress? You go see a cardiologist, and a good cardiologist would ask you those three questions. Now he's like, oh, you got high blood pressure? Here's Lipitor,
Yeah,
or here's all these
yeah,
different.
yeah,
Oh, you have they're handing out beta blockers, which getting off those was terrible, bro. But like they
yeah,
throw all these medications at you and they don't ask you lifestyle questions. So as you come into this realm of healing, realize yes, there was, whether it was long COVID, you got COVID and you became sick, there was a mold exposure, you got bit by a tick.
there
Okay,
was-
cool, that
yeah,
happened. You got all these scary symptoms. That fear started a cycle of stress. And next thing you know, you're caught in this cycle and all the alarms are going off
yeah,
and you can't heal because you haven't shut the alarms off. You're stuck in that state. So
yeah,
what we encourage people to do is shut down those alarms, let your immune system do what it was designed to do, let your body allow you to heal, and then take some time and then maybe find a good naturopathic doctor or then go find another doctor that's there to kind of clean up. But I
exactly.
believe personally that maybe 60 to 70% of the symptoms that you're going through could resolve just by regulating your nervous system.
It really could. It really could. I mean, all the if you look up just like the symptoms of high cortisol, you'll see it's like a lot of the same symptoms that, Lyme
Adrenaline
disease,
dumps. Yeah.
yeah, all that sort of stuff, chronic fatigue syndrome and all that, and it's all related. It's all interconnected and related. Um, so I think, I feel like this is a good place to kind of close this video, because we don't want to have too much and go down
Yeah.
another path. But I think that these are some of the myths and lies that we see, about healing from chronic illness, like whether it's you got to
Yeah.
take all these pills and go see all these doctors, and figure it all out, or even now when you're doing the right things, nervous system work, neuroplasticity, there's a lot of lies even within that. So like that's where we're, and we get hated on because we expose some things, and people don't like when you kind of shed light on some uncomfortable truths, about healing in general. But that's what we feel called to do. So if you guys,
Yeah.
yeah, if you guys just stick with some of the healing work that we're talking about, and really kind of let go of some of these lies, these myths, these things that people get caught up in. It can go a long way in healing and overcoming chronic illness. So
Yeah. The last part I want to say in kind of closing with this is, guys, we're never going to gatekeep information. Obviously, we have a program. We're not even going to put it on in a link. If you guys are interested, you can just go to thehealingdudes.com. Our boot
yeah,
camp's $88 a month. It is everything that you need. You receive an accountability partner. Joe and I do live Zooms where we interact and talk with the whole class on
yeah,
Wednesdays and Sundays, and we give you our no BS healing guide. We also have a journal that you guys can look up on Amazon. It's just Do the Work.
yeah,
Great, real thick. But and Joe does one-on-ones. But here's the thing: is we're cost effective. We're not out here trying to price gouge people. But here's the other part: is we will never gatekeep any information. You guys can ask us any question down in the comments. You guys can shoot us a message. You guys can go to our website and schedule a 15-minute call for free, and we're happy to talk to you guys and answer any questions that you might have.
yeah,
But we will never be gatekeepers. We're not in here to build, these huge houses off the backs of people that are chronically sick.
yeah,
And we want to help people. We want to get out all the information for free. Simply, all we do is support. Hold your hands during the journey, put you in a community. Provide you with the tools. But listen, if you go back and you watch all of our videos, if you do what's in those videos, and your nervous system's completely shot, you'll heal. You'll
yeah,
absolutely begin to heal, but it's not a quick fix. I wish I would have watched one of these videos before. Instead, I saw, someone talking about like all these outlandish, PEMF devices, and someone's
yeah,
getting
yeah, just,
all that nonsense. That, like, literally, if you're looking to heal, this is the first place that you should start, and then from there, begin to work your way, into it. Just see what shutting those alarms down in your body, going into a state of rest and digest. Just observe what it does for your body and watch how much healing can happen.
absolutely.
So we hope you guys have a great day. Like I said, every week we're trying to drop an episode. It aligns with kind of our class and our own healing ventures and stuff like that. But I hope
Yeah,
you
give
guys
it a follow.
watch.
Appreciate it, guys.